Thank you. One woman is dead. Another is injured after being stabbed at a BART station, apparently at random. KPIX5's Jessica Flores is at MacArthur Station with new details. Jessica?
Well, Michelle, things are back to normal here at the MacArthur station. It is back open after being closed throughout the night as police investigated this stabbing. They're still looking for the suspect, but we know that the two women were attacked here, and one of those women has died, the other in the hospital. And right now, police are saying this was totally random. Now, it all happened around 9:45 last night. Both of those women were getting off the train when it happened. Police say that the man who did it is described as a white man in his 20s or 30s with short hair and a heavy build. Now, this all happened again as they were getting off the train. That's when the suspect attacked. He then ran downstairs and took off. We spoke to one of the victims' fathers.
I never imagined myself going through nothing like this. That's my baby girl, and it's a friend's worst nightmare.
The victims' identities have not been released at this time. Meanwhile, BART is working to calm any fears about riding the train this morning. Officials are saying the system is safe, but this is the second BART stabbing in the last several months. Two people survived a stabbing in April when a suspect randomly attacked them at the Coliseum BART station.
So we have a large system that covers many cities, and obviously the environment in those cities sometimes spills over into our trains. So that's why we encourage our passengers to report suspicious activity.
Now, right now, BART police is reviewing surveillance camera footage, really trying to determine exactly what happened and also to identify this suspect. Again, at the moment, they're still looking for the suspect, described as a man in his 20s or 30s, a white man with a heavy build. And I asked if police patrols would be stepped up here at MacArthur BART station. So far, no word on that. Reporting live here at the MacArthur BART station in Oakland, I'm Jessica Flores, KPIX5.
Chief held on media availability here at the Rockridge station. He told us the arrest was uneventful, that the suspect was taken into custody without incident. A BART rider captured the arrest of 27-year-old John Cowell on her cell phone camera. Officers found him after intercepting an Antioch-bound train at the Pleasant Hill BART station. Earlier, Cowell was spotted on the platform at the Coliseum station. It was this sighting that triggered the series of tips from the public and ultimately his arrest.
They asked him what his name was. He was truthful with the officers in terms of his name, and they asked him for identification, and he did provide a California identification.
The arrest comes as a huge relief for the Bay Area, where the random attack has triggered outrage. Police say Cowell pulled a knife on sisters Nia and Latifah Wilson on the MacArthur station platform just before 9:45 Sunday night. 18-year-old Nia died from her stab wounds.
I don't know what it was, but he just was always kind of problem.
Neighbor Carol Kincaid has known Cowell since he was a child. She says he's lived in and out of this Concord home and over the years has been in trouble with the law. In fact, according to our media partners at the East Bay Times, Cowell has an extensive criminal record. Kaiser and Richmond filed a restraining order against him after he was accused of threatening to kill an employee in 2016. Then he was sentenced to prison for robbery, and after serving 2 years, was out on parole 4 months ago. As to what led to Sunday night stabbing, police still don't have a motive.
We haven't connected him with any type of radical group or white supremacist group or anything like that.
Cowell was taken to the Lake Merritt BART station for questioning. He will ultimately be transported to the Alameda County Jail.
And I feel like I didn't protect her like I was supposed to. Little sister was the most sweetest person on this earth. You know? She didn't do nothing to nobody. I didn't do nothing to nobody. And for this to happen is just outright crazy. We just coming from a family function, you know, and going on our way home like we usually don't talk to nobody, just listening to our music, and all of a sudden we transfer, and just to get blindsided by a maniac. For what? I don't know why. We was letting the BART passenger and her child come out from the train so we can enter. By the time my other little sister, she was on train. So we let the woman back up with her stroller. You know, she backed up as we walking on. Then he started attacking. And I looked back, and he was wiping off his knife and stood at the stairs and just looked. And then from there on, I was caring for my sister. I was in shock because I was hurting from the side. So I didn't know I was cut, but because I was paying more attention to my little sister. But he just stood there like it was nothing. And he just ran. He fled the scene. She just yelled my name. Tifa, Tifa, Tifa. And I said, I got you, baby, I got you. Just calm down, because she has real bad anxiety.
And what did you say to her in those final moments as you were with her?
I love her, and we're going to get through this. I got you. You're my baby sister. Remember her for her, not what you hear. You know, that was my little sister. Loving, caring, help any and everybody. You know? But I just wish that it'd be more helpful if we get more security or make the BART more safer, because we don't ride BART like that. She'd hate BART. She will not sit on BART. She will just stand there. She will not catch BART only if we really have to go somewhere. And that's myself too. You know, as young black women, we shouldn't have to look behind our back 24/7. You know, we should be living freely like everybody else. Why everybody else get to live freely, and we gotta look behind our back every 24/7 because of fear of like this. You know, he didn't know us, we didn't know him. Wasn't no altercation, but he just felt upon himself to take his anger, or whatever the case may be, on innocent women. I just want justice for my sister.
She did not deserve this. All she was doing was coming back from wherever she was coming with her sister. And my baby always said, Mama, I don't like BART. I'm like, near the BART. She didn't like the BART. She was scared of the BART. Now I'm seeing why. She did not like the BART.
We have to. It takes the village
That's a foreign language to me. I was raised to take a village to raise a child. I was raised to take a village to heal a village. And that's what Stop Killing Our Kids does. We're here to heal our village.
You can say anything to John here.
Fuck John, excuse my language. I don't care, I'm mad. That's what my baby was supposed to say. He took my baby, man. He took my baby. And my baby was laid out on the concrete slab, man. What am I supposed to say? I don't know what to say. My baby, she was only 18. She didn't ask for
I don't know anything. All I know is my daughter called me crying hysterically. I couldn't understand what she was talking about. She told me to get here to MacArthur BART. I get here. I see all the police and ambulance, and I run up the platform, and I see my youngest daughter laying up under a tarp dead, you know? I want justice for my daughter. I want justice for my daughter. Please help me get justice for my daughter. Man, I work at Highland Hospital. I see this every single day. I never imagined myself going through nothing like this. That's my baby girl laying up there. You know, I want justice for my daughter, you know.
What did the police tell you about a suspect? Did they tell you anything?
I haven't heard anything from anybody, except a few witnesses said it was some white guy in a red striped shirt who just stabbed my daughter randomly and ran off.
Man, I'm sorry to hear it. Sorry to hear that.
This is a parent's worst nightmare. I see this, I watch this on TV. I never imagined this happening to me. Oh my God. I'm seeking justice for my daughters. That's all I'm seeking is justice for my daughters.
Why is it important for you to be in that courtroom?
All right. My daughter was everything to me. You know, she was so beautiful, so inspirational, had dreams. You know, I'm supposed to be planning her graduation, not her funeral. You know, and basically all I want is justice for my daughters.
What is justice for you?
Justice is seeing that the perpetrators, you know, being prosecuted to the full extent. You know, I would never see my daughter again. She would never be able to pursue her dreams. You know, and no parent ever want to go through what I'm going through right now. And all I want is justice for my daughter. That's it. That's all.
How are you feeling about having to see him today? Are you ready for that? Are you looking forward to it? Dreading it? Where are you mentally on that?
I'm mentally stable, as stable as I can be. Leave it up to the courts, but all I want is justice for my daughter. That's it.
How's Latifah doing?
She's doing fine. She's doing fine at this point.
Is she still in the hospital? Is she home?
No, she isn't. She's at home.
What have the last 3 days been like for you and your family as processing this horrific tragedy that's happened?
Very painful. All the support that we're getting from the community and everyone else is keeping us strong, keeping me strong as well. You know, and all I can reach out and say is thank you to the community for all the support that's been shown to my family.
Can you tell us a little bit about Nia's dreams? What was she going to do after graduation?
And where was she going to graduate from?
She was going to graduate from Dewey Academy with very high honors. She had plans on joining the military at the graduation, and basically that's it. You know, I just want justice for my daughter. That's it.
And when was graduation scheduled?
December.
In December.
Yes, December.
The family of the suspect says that he had mental illness, schizophrenia, and suffered from a lifetime of mental problems. What's your reaction when you
Go. All right, I'm Carlos Rojas, R-O-J-A-S, and I'm the police chief for the BART Police Department. And I'm here tonight, less than 24 hours from the MacArthur stabbing, to let you know that we've taken John Lee Cowell into custody at the Pleasant Hill BART station. And to just give you a little bit of a sequence or a little bit of timeline of events, at 5:47, the BART Police Department received a phone call that from one of our riders that they believed that the murder suspect we were looking for was on a Richmond-bound train traveling from Coliseum. That train stopped at MacArthur Station, and we searched the train at MacArthur Station but did not find the individual. And that was about 10 minutes later after we got the call. And at that time, a patron, another rider, told us that he believed that the subject got on an Antioch-bound train. So we intercepted an Antioch-bound train at Pleasant Hill. And at Pleasant Hill, Officer Rodney Barrera and Officer Schlegel from the BART Police Department searched the train and located John Lee Cowell. It was a very uneventful type contact. They asked him what his name was. He was truthful with the officers in terms of his name, and they asked him for identification, and he did provide a California identification. At that time, he was taken into custody, and he was detained for a short while there at the Pleasant Hill station, and he has since been transported to the Lake Merritt at the BART Police Department. And we plan to interview him along with the District Attorney's Office and book him in the Alameda County Jail. And I do want to say that our heart and condolences goes out to the family, and this is truly the first step for their healing process and really having an opportunity to achieve justice for Nia and her family. So we're very glad that in less than 24 hours we were able to get the subject into custody. Obviously very dangerous, not only in the BART system, but throughout all the communities here in the Bay Area. So we're ecstatic to really have him in custody. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our partner agencies that helped us out last night: California Highway Patrol, the Oakland Police Department. Today we had help from the United States Marshal Service, and as well as the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Safe Streets Task Force. So it was truly a collaborative effort with all those agencies. But at the end of the day, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank all of you, members of the media, who came out to the initial press conference and helped put this information out. Because what I can tell you is that our riders identified this individual. And I don't have the exact information, but I'm sure it had to do with information that was put out either on social media or by the media partners here. So thank you very much, and I'm willing to take any questions.
Steve, a lot of the family members, some of them don't even know, but it was obvious that putting a picture out there led to this arrest. A lot of families are saying, why did it take so long to get this picture out there?
Well, anytime you have an investigative process, keep in mind this happened a little bit before 10 last night. And so part of the investigative process is to get the best information out there, factual information out there, and there was a lot of components to this. You know, we had where he doffed his clothes in a parking structure, we had a knife that was located, we had video that had to be recovered in different locations, and then we had to track down to make sure this was the correct individual, and then we wanted to get the most recent photo as well. So it is an investigative process that takes place, but getting a photo out there within 12 hours of a crime that is very complex is really, we're all hands on deck. I mean, we've all been up for close to 24 hours now working on this case.
Do you have any idea where the guy was going? Were you arrested?
I don't have that information at this time.
Was he armed?
No, he was not armed.
Can you talk about why he did this, his motive?
No, I don't have any information, and they are going to interview him as part of this investigation, and I'm sure if he decides to provide the investigators with information, we'll glean a little bit more of the details on what occurred.
What time was he taken into custody?
A little bit before 6:30, I believe. I don't know the exact time.
A lot of people at the demonstration are pretty frustrated that there were cars at the station last night while Leo was stabbed. How come he was able to slip out of the BART station?
Well, as I explained earlier in the press conference, things happened very quick, and what I described was a prison yard type of attack where the guy came up behind me and stabbed her in rapid succession 2 times, and then stabbed her sister in that same way. So it basically happened at the snap of the fingers, at the drop of the pen, that quick. the officers were in the station, and as soon as they were notified, they reacted, and they responded very, very quickly. But other than being right next to where the incident occurred, I'm still not sure it could have been prevented, but the officers were very rapid in the response. They were at the station.
In terms of the history of the suspect, is it a business attack? Is there any evidence that's not incarcerated, or that he has any ties to white supremacists?
As I had mentioned before, he is a parolee. He got out of the California Department of Corrections prison system about 4 months ago, and we haven't connected him with any type of radical group or white supremacist group or anything like that.
Are you investigating them?
Excuse me?
Is that an option? Are you investigating?
Oh, absolutely. We don't take anything off the table. While we don't have any facts that suggest he's connected with any white supremacist group, we are going to explore all options and all possibilities.
What was he in prison for?
I can't release any type of his criminal history, but I can tell you he does have a violent past, and he was a dangerous individual, obviously, just based on his actions alone with this past incident.
How was he able to get back into the BART system?
Excuse me?
How was he able to get back into the BART system?
I don't have that information. As you know, public transportation is very porous, and he got back into the system. I mean, we had cited him for proof of payment, so there's no doubt that he has ferry baited into the system in the past, and that's a possibility on how he got into the system tonight as well.
Is he on tape changing clothes? Do you have that on videotape?
Yes, at the press conference earlier today, we talked about that he doffed his pants and sweatshirt in the BART parking structure at MacArthur, and we do have that on video, and it's part of our criminal investigation that we'll be submitting to the district attorney's office.
Does that make you think it was premeditated, that he committed this crime and then was like, oh, I better take my clothes off, rather than just sort of some random impulsive act?
Yeah, well, just from a common sense standpoint, I think anybody who starts doffing their clothes after they've committed a crime, to me, that's a consciousness of guilt. You know, I don't know what statements he'll end up making or what direction this investigation or case will take. But what I can tell you, to me, it appears to be a consciousness of guilt. Does he have a lawyer? I don't have that information at this time.
There are people at the protest who are angry, saying if this were a black man, he would have been killed and arrested right away. If John Howell was black, he would have been killed or arrested right away. That's what people at the visual are saying.
I wasn't there. I don't know in what context that was said, but we arrest people based on probable cause. We don't just go out there and kill people that have committed crimes. It's our job to go ahead and bring them to justice.
Except Oscar.
Huh?
Except Oscar Grant.
That I'm not dealing with that situation today. We're talking about the Nia Wilson homicide, and out of respect for her, that's not appropriate.
What are we going to do to keep BART officers safe? Because this is the only violent incident that's happened in the past week alone.
Yeah, well, when you look at public transportation and you look at the span of the BART district, which encompasses 4 counties, we're just a microcosm of all the cities where we sit. So we don't go through one city that's crime-free. So, and we have a very porous city because it is public transportation. So we do need to hire more officers. We've seen support from the board of directors to hire more officers so we can continue to increase our presence, not only at the stations, but on the trains as well. Because ideally we want to be able to deter and prevent crime from occurring. And, unfortunately, this is really indicative of our society. Just if you've seen the news in the last 24 hours, you've seen shootings in Canada, down in Southern California, and it's difficult times that we're seeing throughout the world in terms of violence, and we have to do whatever we can to try to prevent and deter so it doesn't get to the point where we're dealing with these issues after the fact where somebody's deceased or somebody's seriously injured.
How long is he going to be in the Lake Merritt station and provide pictures of his arrest?
I don't know how long he'll be at the station, and we'll have to talk to the detectives in terms of release of any other photographs of the suspect at this time. I will do it in Spanish after they're gone. Absolutely. Okay. You want the Spanish? All right. Well, I do want to thank all the media partners for really covering this, because this is really about the justice for Nia Wilson, her sister Latifah, and their family. So thank you very much. Okay.
When he's transferred from Lake Barron to the Alameda County Jail, is that going to be underground, or is that going to be,
underground?
We want pictures of it.
No, he'll be placed in a police car to get taken.
You won't be able to see that.
Right here? Yeah, probably not. I mean, it's not underground.
You gotta drop it down,
yeah, maybe if you're
in the right place.
at the right place at the right time.